Hi, everybody. Sorry. Hi, everybody. This is day 1348 and no sign of life. Let me go on here and check to see if we are on. We're burning the midnight oil tonight. It's been a busy day. We have breaking news. Um, and remember, no sign of life. And this is really important to understand. We're at 1,347 days. Okay. Okay. So I can see your questions now, your remarks, and please, um, ask questions because we're trying to be. Sorry, it. I've been talking here. Let me have some coffee. Yeah. Okay. So, absolutely. It's been very, very busy, and we have breaking news. Bob Moore is no longer the editor for El Paso Matters. That's very, very big. Um, I don't know if it is because of our massive campaign to expose his obstruction of justice in our son's case and the violation of his 501c3. And also, it turns out because El Paso Matters is owned by the El Paso Community Foundation, that they were violating the 509A3 from the IRS, which is charitable organizations. Charitable organizations, um, and the tax exempt status, to stay neutral, to be helpful. They were violating that by obstructing justice using a convicted criminal that is, getting her mail from Dreams Cabaret, Lilani Hart, convicted criminal. Um, uh, just, it's so bad. And also the mother of Richard's platoon leader, Dallas Hart, who we have intelligence coming in that there were incidences between them. And, we have information that Dallas had to get teeth work done, he had to get nose work done. And we're just wondering if Richard, in an incident with Dallas Hart, bashed in his teeth or broke his nose. We'd like to know that. If you're a soldier out there, if you were in the barracks, um, this is really, really important. And, there has been smears against Richard since the beginning of this. There have been attacks against us, against our family, against Team Find Richard Halliday, even behind our backs against Team Find Richard Halliday, those that were trying to help find Richard. And also, we have a $150,000 reward for any credible information leading to finding Richard and solving this case. And there were many people that were looking in, doing some research, especially during the COVID lockdown. People were at home, they had lost their jobs, they, would really like to uh, have a chance at getting the 150,000 or a part of the 150,000, or even more, because if we break the case, um, you know, we never forget those that help us. That's for sure. We try not to anyway. We try. This is it has been such a big case. I'm going to have to put out an announcement when all this breaks to say, please, um, remind, tell us who you are. Tell us what you did, because we are so, so appreciative. We are so grateful for your continued support, your sharing, your comments, your own private sharing in your own groups. Uh, you know, we don't necessarily have to have the numbers. The numbers just have to be out there because, you can see that the organizations spend millions of dollars for their elector, their candidates, because elections matter, appointments matter, and they manipulate it. They go against, the Yvonne Rosales, who absolutely won fair and square her election. And I know there is, I always, I have said from the very beginning, after experiencing January 6th, just the experience of January 6th, that day, being there, and the lies that have followed, right, have convinced me that 2020 was rigged. Okay, that was a rigged election um, for who's this guy Biden, against President Trump. Absolutely, just that experience, just being tear gassed, just seeing people praying and being tear gassed, singing patriotic songs and being tear gassed, um, just us, them wanting us to trample each other, and you know uh, it is absolutely amazing that the harm was so little compared to all the instigation that these insane, evil monsters, for politics' sakes, did on that day. Just living through that, just standing, you can just stand there in your nation's capital, and they don't like it that you're just taking a stand. You're not doing anything. You're just standing there. You're just saying a prayer, and they don't like it. And so for Richard, just taking a stand, just saying, no, I'm going to stand here. Remember, what is it? Uh, in China, right? Tiananmen Square. That man just took a stand in front of the tank. Just took a stand, right? He wasn't doing anything. He was just taking a stand. That that's what they hate. They hate it when we have courage, that we take a stand. And I understand there's risk, um, to everyday life, uh, you know, but that January 6th, taking a stand, because I'm going to tell you, most people that I saw, uh, most of them, um, I saw only really, I'm trying to think if I saw anything bad. A lot more things that I saw that were bad, because I wasn't in front of the Capitol. I was there in the mall area. What I saw was so many patriots, so many families, so many good things, and instigators that were already up at the Capitol, that were drawing us close together so that they could tear gas us. It, you know, it was it was something else, I tell you, and it really shows you that elections matter. And I know that there is a big group of people that are so fed up with our government, so fed up with them, so fed up with our military, so fed up with our agencies, uh, excuse me, that they absolutely, um, do not want to vote. And I'm telling you, through these almost 4 years, everything that they do, just like the Walmart case was, the Walmart mass shooting, had a few reasons why they did it, right? And one of those reasons was to interfere in the election. They wanted to interfere in the 2020 election. And, it absolutely to smear MAGA, to smear Make America Great Again. Can you believe it? We want to be great again, America great again. And they smeared that. And, and blamed that mass shooting on them. And I'm telling you, absolutely no way, because Ernest Christopher Grant is a perpetual criminal, and he is connected. He's connected to that entire setup, okay? To the orchestration of the Walmart mass shooting. All right? There's not a doubt in my mind. And he needs to be arrested. And why was he then a media sweetheart? Did the media not know? Were this Operation Mockingbird, did it go out to the media and say, this is what you need to do? You need to have Chris Grant, this criminal. Did they even tell the Mockingbird media that Chris Grant was a criminal? And apparently he's an agent, because he's so protected, because the White House Secret Service arrested him, and then they had to let him go because he couldn't be extradited. Can you believe it? It's like, what? Our law enforcement are protecting these criminals like Leilani Hart. Why didn't Eddie Nieto, the supervisory director for El Paso FBI office, hasn't he arrested Leilani Hart? It's as clear as that. Because they're saying that she lied about saying that her family members raped the 7-year-old in her master bedroom. That that her husband was buying guns illegally. That they were into child pornography. That there was incest in their house. Okay, so why hasn't he arrested her? He needs to arrest her. But that hasn't happened. So, and she was allowed by Bob Moore, the former editor of El Paso Matters, to be used as for a source. She's not reliable. She's the mother, a convicted criminal mother, of Dallas Hart, Richard's platoon leader, who was having an adulterous sexual relationship with CID agent Tavita Nusa, when Richard is said to have been in the internship for CID, getting his classes from Park University to become law enforcer, a CID agent. That he, and we have confirmed, inquired his path to becoming a CID agent there in the military. It comes together, and what he saw in the CID as an intern, as we were told that he's an intern, and Park University could absolutely give us the academic records, because this is an emergency, so it meets all FERPA criteria. So we should be able to get his academic records, because they rather obstruct justice. They rather, Park University, obstruct justice. Also, not follow their own FERPA law, right? To hide the courses that Richard was taking and the CID internship that he was in. And Aunt Ogle could absolutely answer. Thomas Kane could answer. But see, because they're implicated, so many people are implicated. You've got the Harts implicated, because it's not just Leilani Hart, it's James Courtney Hart. They're at the VA That's a sweet job in order to control people because you can say, hey, I sit on the health board for veterans benefits, for veterans disability benefits. I can give you a nod or I can give you a thumbs down. I mean, he needs to absolutely, they need to look at every case that he has been part of the health board with because she did not get arrested. So, did he rape that 7-year old in her master bedroom? Has he been committing incest? Has he been purchasing weapons illegally? Has he been participating in child pornography? Did he threaten Leilani Hart's life? I mean, that report that is her criminal complaint against her husband with the FBI, and we have the FBI number, the case number, and the CID case number. I don't understand, except for that she was having the adulterous sexual relationship with Tavita Nusa, a married man, so that he could coach her to get that accepted by the CID. And also Dirty Agent Marlon Soto. Hey, bro. My dreams cabaret woman here needs a FBI number on this. Are you going to refer it further to, hey, bro, Eddie Nieto, the supervisory director at the FBI? I mean, come on. There's so many, and we haven't even mentioned Cynthia Hernandez Nieto and Marlon Soto Hernandez. I mean, do they know each other? Are they family? Do they share cousins? I don't know. It seems very incestuous to me to team find Richard Halliday, what's going on, and that they're getting covered. And that includes Jesus Melendez, who stopped Richard and then turned it over to Carzoli, Miguel Carzoli. And, the, the connections. And it really, how long are we going to allow them to wear uniforms? I have to really stress this. This is something I learned, uh, you know, teaching in a German school. The uniforms can be so dangerous. If you put criminals in uniforms, or you allow those in uniform to become criminals, and you keep them in the uniforms, and you allow them to not follow protocol, to not follow the law, to not follow standard operating procedures. When you have these people that are officials, and not all of them wear uniforms, right? Some of them wear suits, like, like these lawyers. And if you allow them to bully, if you allow them to break the law, and keep them in uniform, like, this is my problem with Sean Bernabe and McConville and Mealy and uh, Stewart and Donna Martin and gosh, I can go on and on. Garrett, General Garrett, General Garrett, General Garrett. If we continue, Clem Coward, Major General Clem Coward, if we allow them to wear that uniform, even if some of them are retired, they have those rights from the uniform and their stars. And, of course, I'm not even hitting with the NCOs, I really, focused on these generals because these generals, they know better. And they take an oath, just like the NCOs, but these are generals. We've entrusted our volunteer sons and daughters to them. We've entrusted the defense of our Constitution to them. And if they are allowed to betray us in the uniform, because once you put that uniform on, it's authority, right? You see someone in uniform, that means, ooh, they have authority. They have authority. Because who's going to do oversight with them? There's much more chance that they can get away with criminal activity when they're in uniform. That's why it's so important to keep criminals out of the uniform. And, what is this thing that, it's either jail or you join the military? No, 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 no. If you are not outstanding, well, then we won't have a military. Look, a smaller military with outstanding characters is far more powerful than a bunch of criminals. Absolutely. An army that has esprit de corps, a military that has esprit de corps, is so powerful. And that takes character. That takes loyalty and respect and integrity and duty and selfless service and personal courage and honor. That's what that takes. And through this whole thing, Sean Bernabe has none of that, so he needs to get out of the uniform. He's a criminal. P.P. McGee is a Donna Martin is a Garrett is a Clem Coward is a criminal. Mealy is a criminal. McConville is a criminal. They are criminals. And they're, just because they wear the uniform doesn't mean that they are above the law and that they get to keep it no matter what. Nope. Nope. And the same thing with Soto. These very, very important roles, important positions in order to enforce the law. And what Jesus Melendez did was his action against Richard was a personal action, in my opinion, because there's too many conflicts of interest for it not to be. And his conflicts of interest reach into the Walmart case, into the life of David Johnson, and more. And more. The victims of the Walmart case are very interesting. Why do they have, this is not just, this is just a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. They have connections. And, we need to scrutinize every victim that was shot on August 3rd, 2019. We need an honest investigation of what the heck happened that day. Because it was not a lone shooter. Absolutely not. there's a whole different truth than what Ernest Christopher Grant was telling. And he's an unreliable source. He's totally a perpetual criminal. You think I'm going to believe him and Chris Cuomo? Believe him and Beto O'Rourke? No. All that glitters is not gold. And they can be up on in the news. They can get this coverage. Have you asked? I have. Why Richard hasn't gotten coverage? Because it exposes them. It exposes them. And why didn't they give us that beautiful video of Richard standing in that very well lit parking lot? Okay, those parking lots are so well lit. You can see it in the video. Because he's saying, well, he didn't have his lights on in the parking lot. It's like, okay, that is a very, very, very well lit parking lot. You have no cause to stop him and do a traffic stop. No. And, that was absolutely a setup. He, with Carzoli, set up Richard, framed Richard, in my opinion. That's backed up with a lot of evidence, so that the Army command could retaliate against Richard severely, continuously, for the whistleblowing. And I believe that there is some hate crime there. And I think the hate crime is against Richard's Christian beliefs. Christian stand. After watching that video, it's after watching many videos of him not wanting to spend money on horrors and blow, that reminds me of Faithful in Pilgrim's Progress, right? He's in Vanity Fair, the city of Vanity Fair, and he did not want to participate. And what did they do? They retaliated against him. And because Richard did not want to participate with what Leilani Hart was doing with Tavita Nusa, with Marlon Soto, with Eddie Nieto, with the illegal activities that were going on Fort Bliss, he was retaliated against. That's very clear after the videos. In not one video he's like, oh, hey, baby. Nope. He's saying, I rather burn my money than spend it on whores and blow. Don't do it. Don't be a stripper. Don't be a sex worker. They say they respect you, but they don't. They're just horny. They just want to see you naked. That's what he's saying. And in the traffic stop, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Totally compliant, totally respectful, with honor and integrity. He's not argumentative. He's not cussing. He's not throwing punches. Nothing. He's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So we'll be posting more on that. I also don't want to forget to talk about Interpol, because what just happened with Interpol, uh, has it been 2 weeks? I think it's been like a week and a half ago. Things are moving so quick. And I don't want to forget to mention all these different facets. And, there's so many, I'd be on here for hours. Maybe I should do like some kind of uh, long, what do you call it? Broadcast. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Um, but Interpol, Richard was always a yellow Interpol. Okay. And the picture that was given to Interpol by a law enforcement agency, right? I don't know. But we're going to try to find out. And, the FBI has a direct number to them. The FBI, we have now intelligence saying that FBI Atlanta was involved in all of this. Why would FBI Atlanta be involved in all of this? Right? um, so Interpol clearly means that this is an international case, that it crosses the border. That's very important. So when you cross the border, your facial recognition gets checked. Okay? So the pictures that Interpol has for facial recognition is very important. It's not just, oh, let's just look at that picture and, move forward, right? That, oh, okay, that kind of looks like him or whatever. No, they put those into a computer, and those pictures are used when scanning people's faces crossing the border, of countries. So for a picture to be given to Interpol that does not represent the facial measurements for facial recognition of Richard Halliday is an obstruction of justice. And whose face did it match? It matched, in our forensics. That was really a shock. And we've had it for quite a while. And it was Dallas Hart's face. So the facial recognition, so you can ask yourself, why would they overlay or, composite Dallas Hart's face with Richard's face to give to Interpol? To skew the facial measurements, to skew the facial recognition. Why would they do that? Because Interpol also may be used in identifying dead bodies. If you find this, you have a missing person, if that person is dead, deceased, oh, let's scan this person's face. They didn't want Richard to be found. That's what this means. And it's a very, very big deal. Very big deal. And so for Interpol to do this investigation in order to remove that image is a very big deal. Because I'm sure they did not take this lightly, that they were given a tampered photo that could not be used for facial recognition of Richard, being alive or dead. I think this is really, really important. So I had to mention that. So Jesus Melendez, he has conflicts of interest. I'm going down my list with David Johnson. Um, David Johnson was murdered on August 3rd, 2019. I don't, I know, but I shouldn't say I know. I should say seemingly, apparently, um, this was not a coincidence. All right. Because David Johnson also has conflicts of interest. And I have to tell you all of this because what the narrative was given to us about what happened on August 3rd, 2019 is is just that, a narrative in order to twist and fool and scare and divide the people of this country, the people of El Paso, and into, of course, whatever happens in El Paso happens to the surrounding area, which is goes inside of Mexico, of Juarez, who has already had this year 300 murders. 300 murders, 100 murders a month. That is what's going on in Juarez. And I contribute part of that, and I hope that the officials in Mexico are hearing us, because I contribute that to the corrupt generals, the corrupt Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks is not even a legitimate DA. And Bob Moore with Bill Hicks and Justin Underwood colluded together to plot together to remove Yvonne Rosales. That's election interference. And I can't even, with John Briggs there, colluding and keeping the cases in pieces, was making her look pretty bad. She fired him. 2 days later, they put in this petition. And what do? They get him back. They bring him back. What? To keep the Walmart case and Richard's case and the likes, whatever cases they're manipulating, seemingly, and I'm not the one saying that, okay? That was Loretta Lynn Hewitt. That was Curtis Cogg. That was John Briggs' boss. What was his name? John Briggs' boss, right? They are keeping these cases in pieces, which cost millions of dollars of funding. And they're just, on a gravy train. On a gravy train. Profiting from criminal activity. And then profiting from the state to keep these cases in pieces, not moving forward, just, like pedaling, going nowhere on a stationary bike, right? And why do they want to do that? Because once they have a proper trial for Patrick Crucia's case, it all will come out. Because you'll have to talk about the victims, who they're connected to, what was going on. They'd have to bring in Mario Raskin Ortiz, the chief medical examiner, who is also illegitimate because he's not, well, the last time I heard, but he was put into that very, very important judicial position without being an American citizen, which broke the Texas Constitution. the protection of the Texas Constitution. These are for our protection. And they're just violating the law every which way. And of course, that's Veronica Escobar with the commissioner, the county commissioners. So, why did they put him in? Who does he have connections to? I think we could ask Angela Kucherga, because Angela Kucherga reports on the border, reports, knows about these visas and who's going over and everything like that. And I think she would know a lot about Mario Raskin Ortiz. It seems like she knows a lot about that family, and that she may even have conflicts of interest with that family. And this is, uh, you're saying, oh my gosh, this is why we've been retaliated against. This is why Richard was retaliated against. Not only that, but murdered, his life ended. And not only Richard's life, but Glendon Oakley Jr. And I would say Asia Graham, because Asia Graham was a whistleblower. She was raped. She reported the rape. She experienced something. She said something. She put in a report. And what did they do? They retaliated against her and made her life miserable. They did not protect her. This is why those in uniform need to be stripped of our beautiful uniforms and the stars, and I would say even the stripes. There needs to be an accountability. And, because I can tell you, yesterday, day before yesterday, a month ago, a year ago, we had enough. We have enough. We have enough to understand that Richard was murdered. We have enough to know where to get the answers, the rest of the answers. But because the institutions and the agencies, not all of them, lots is going on behind the scenes. Bob Moore is no longer editor for El Paso Matters. But we have enough that if there was a will, we would absolutely provide the way to find Richard. Absolutely. So the shakeup of accountability, I believe, well, I know it's coming sooner or later, because lies cannot be sustained. And if it's not for this case, it'll be another case, and that's very sad. How many of our sons and daughters, how much of our country has to be destroyed? How many have to be destroyed for this criminal network that of course is working with the cartel? I just have to say it. They're absolutely working with the cartel. And how many have to, before we hold them accountable? And that's why elections matter. And if you have thought that elections don't matter and you don't want to vote because you're so disgusted, I disagree, because they spend a lot of time on these elections, and they wouldn't spend the time and the money, their time and treasure, on elections. And these very wealthy people giving so much money, millions of dollars, to move the elections certain directions. Um, if it didn't matter, they wouldn't do it. So it does matter. So that means the people, the government, the Bible is for the government of the people, by the people, for the people. And if we don't, participate in that, election. And I understand people are saying, "Oh, but it's a cheat and they cheat." And well, we need to participate. We need to participate. There needs to be a lot of eyes on this election. And we need to scrutinize, because I'm going to tell you right now, do not vote if you're in South Carolina. Do not vote for Timmons, William Timmons. Do not vote for William Timmons. Do not vote for William Timmons. He's a snake. Do not vote for Veronica Escobar if you're in El Paso. Do not vote for Veronica Escobar. Did I say do not vote for Veronica Escobar? She is a snake. So, it's very, very important that that we participate, because the level of criminal networking to take advantage of this country in our system is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's huge. It is really dirty, and it's really huge. So, let me see. Did I mention Lalani Hart, Ernest Christopher Grant, Donna Sifford? Um, and I these names need to be mentioned. And there's more. There's more, and we will put them out, because they need to be exposed. They cannot be in those uniforms. They cannot be agents. They cannot be entrusted with our monies, because we pay them, right? We pay them. Why are we paying them so much money? They cannot be entrusted because they have not used what we have given them for the defense of this Constitution, for the well-being of our sons and daughters, for the well-being of our country. They have not. So I think that is really, really important. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, thank you, Anicia. Thank you, Danielle, for coming on. And it's great news today that Bob Moore is no longer the editor of El Paso Matters. Now, I don't know what kind of character the next editor has. I hope it's not Angela Kachurga, because that would be very, very bad news. So I don't know. And we know that the media, you know, who was it? Jesse Waters and Mark Dice. I've been trying to listen to some Mark Dice lately, because, you know, learning that Richard bought Mark Dice's book and was a huge fan and would even give him money, really supported him. I just thought, okay, let me listen to some Mark Dice. And he's very, very interesting, and he exposes a lot. And he just was talking about the Mockingbird media. And I went, oh, wow, Operation Mockingbird, CIA. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I would have listened 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago to all of that. Um, but absolutely now, I absolutely understand what he's saying. And the level of corruption in our media is also huge. And of course, they're going to do it. It's kind of like Mowgli. You know, Mowgli and Jungle Book? Remember the snake? The snake kind of hypnotizes Mowgli, and all the eyes go crazy and everything like that. Of course, that's like the media. They give us narratives, and one of the things that I've noticed with Richard in this is that people have kind of gotten very callous, very callous. Um, I think they were shaken a bit with Vanessa Guillen, but even then, there was no real call for justice for Vanessa Guillen. And there was something in the news that was shared with me today, and I probably need to put that up. But they were like, "Oh, this is a new mural of Vanessa Guillen," and it's not new. It was painted in 2020, and people were very up in arms about how the media was twisting um, a story about this mural. And I think it's because they can. They can get away with it. And I really don't think that there was justice, full justice, in Vanessa Guillen's case. And that's not me saying that. That's her family saying that. So to me, that shows that there's been a callousness in our thinking in this country, because no way, no way should we let that case go without getting full justice. Looking under every desk, right? Going into every building in that Fort Hood, Fort Cavazos, whatever they want to call it, and finding out what happened to Vanessa, whatever subpoenas, whatever. Um, you know, I think that would have been better than the gate being named after. I mean, I think that's great too, but um, absolutely, there needs to be justice. And in our son's case, absolutely. So thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.